How many distributors did you contact for your film Clowning?
I think my producing partner, once we built the package out, my producing partner, Jonathan Gaedo, he was contacting distribution companies. I believe we contacted maybe 5 or 10. We didn't contact a whole lot in the beginning. I had my heart set on Gravitas early on, and it's just, I don't know why. I looked at their arsenal of films, I looked at their logo and felt like aesthetically it just fit the picture a lot, which is not necessarily as far as the logo fitting the picture isn't necessarily the right way to choose a company. But a lot of companies have a lot of negative stuff written about them. So you look at all these small distributors and it's hard to find one that you can navigate well enough to know that you can trust them. Gravitas Ventures has been around for 16 years. I think they're they say that they're the most well-known indie distributor. I think that's true. But the person who started it is originally from Ohio. And now they've moved their offices back to Ohio. So that was another thing, me being from Cincinnati, Ohio, I was like, oh, it felt like home. It felt like I should, this would be the right company for this. They also put out Blu-rays. That was another big factor to me that some companies don't. They just try to do video on demand. So.
When Jonathan was contacting these distributors, is this just an email, a cold email?
Email, phone call. I think he would email every couple days and phone call every couple days. We don't just knock on doors, we try to kick them open. You're gonna have a conversation with us. If you don't like what we're doing, we wanna know why. And we wanna learn from it. So I know John, he's like me. We're gonna contact people and just, hopefully get their attention. But Gravitas got back to us pretty quick. So it was like, we probably contacted Gravitas and then within a month, they were securing the film. Now part of that factor though, they had to watch the film. So it was like during that month, we sent them everything and they got back to us, but yeah.
Were any distributors coming to you folks first?
There was 3 to 5 different distributors and international distribution companies that contacted us, but their track records weren't, it made us nervous. Because again, also a huge question I think all filmmakers are thinking is, what should I expect out of a distributor? And especially in the world of filmmaking, because making a movie like Clowning for me was building this giant mountain, but a lot of times the hardest mountains to build are the ones that we learn the most from and that move us forward in our timeline the furthest. So in terms of distributors, we were contacted by a few, but they weren't comfortable choices for us in the context that we couldn't find enough information that would show us that we could get our money back.
So you did your research on the few that did contact you and
Oh yeah.
saw that you weren't comfortable with what you found.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people out there making their own distribution companies now, and a lot of times they're just like average people that don't necessarily have the connections, but they can make phone calls just like we can. We had one company contact us saying that they wanted to put our movie in movie theaters, but then we found out that they were going to charge us $200 per theater. And then I contacted a couple of the theaters they suggested, and the screening at their theater is only 100 and something. So then you begin to realize, oh, they're not really a distributor that can put your movie in theaters. They're just going to make you pay for their screenings and then put their logo in front of your movie. And then it feels like you're getting theatrical distribution, but it's not. And some of those theaters are AMC theaters. So like it has a certain kind of look. So I don't know, sometimes you have to navigate the world in a context of, okay, you're going to do this or that. But I mean, it's so rare to get any kind of minimum guarantee from a distributor. So then what are you looking for? Well, you're at least looking for eyeballs, right? So like what distributor can put your film on as many platforms as possible, not just Prime. Seems like a lot of people can get their movies on Prime pretty easily. But, getting it on Prime and Apple and Spectrum and all these different places is what Gravitas is able to do. So, and that information is sitting there on their website and their track record. And, I've seen a couple movies in art house theaters too that had a Gravitas logo in front of the movie. So that was another reason why it felt like I've seen these films around.
And when you spoke to your entertainment attorney, did they discourage you from signing for too many years? I know you said you had a 10-year contract.
Yeah, I mean, each distributor is offering 15 at first. And Gravitas was offering 15, and I pushed back to 10. Truthfully, that decision came from a really amazing talk that Joe Swanberg gave at South by Southwest, I believe it was, where he talks about what filmmakers should be looking for in a distribution company. And IFC Midnight sounds like a great company I would love to work with in the future. It sounds like and I love the way they put their their DVDs and Blu-rays together. It looks really great. But one big factor is if they're not pushing your movie, then you need to get your movie back as fast as possible. Now, I could have probably pushed for a 5-year agreement, but 10 years sounds nice too. And I am very washed up on shore with building that movie. So it's nice to have it off your hands for a bit.
Sure.
So, but someone sells their movie, right, to a distributor, and it doesn't go theatrical, it doesn't have a big name actor, but then there's filmmakers that are angry that aren't seeing money. And here's what I think. They need to stop being angry. Unless they have real reason to say that a company is doing something criminal, I really think a filmmaker, you're not going to make money on your first movie. You're going to make money once you're making your next movie and your next movie. Because say my next movie ends up being a success and a hit, then at least 1 million filmmakers around the planet are going to go and probably rent the first movie, because that's what I always did. You'd watch a filmmaker and go back and watch their earlier work. So like I told the investors for Clowning, even if that money doesn't suddenly pop up from our first deal with Gravitas, believe me, I'm going to keep making movies. And at some point, Clowning's going to make its money back. But we'll see. The first numbers are coming through soon, so.
What does that mean, washed up ashore? You were just ready to move on to the next project?
Yeah, I mean, with the movies I've made, the 3 features and 36 shorts, producing, writing, directing, editing, sound design, mixing, it's like you come up with the idea. Writing a screenplay is building a mountain. And then you take that screenplay and then you make it into a movie. So then shooting it's building a mountain. And then you got to take the material and detach yourself from the way that it, all the intricacy of building the thing. And then you got to edit the whole mountain and do all the sound design work. And then for me personally, I can't quite tell what to take out of the movie until all the sound design's sitting there. So then you're doing months of work that you're also removing, and so by the time you finish this movie, it's like I'm so tired of looking at it. Like my girlfriend, she said when we met, I wasn't really talking about Clowning, and she said to me, we finally watched it because the movie had come out and she wanted to watch it, and I finally was like, well, let's watch. I want to watch one of these streamers and see what the version looks like, and make sure that it looks good. So we watch it. And she turns to me and she's like, I love this movie. She's like, I meet people who make a 2-minute short video and they think it's the most amazing thing they've ever seen in their lives, and it's totally not very good. And you don't even ever talk about this feature film that you did. But that's because I washed up on shore. And I was very tired of looking at it, talking about it. At some point, like when you're making a feature, I feel like, you could do it within 1 year, but it could take a couple of years of your life. And then it's something you're going to talk about probably forever to some degree. So it's always there. But